Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I do have cinnamon in my coffee, and I've got today, it's a Starbucks, I think it's like a French roast. Every once in a while, I like to get those burnt type smelling coffees. It really wakes you up in the morning. Well, let me tell you what, I've got a lot of information today. The people that provide me with information from the internet and from Twitter about digital assets and XRP, this morning I woke up and they have been on the ball, and so I'm going to throw a lot of shout outs and credit in their direction. First of all, Web Surfer at Web Surfology sent me this. Private City in Norway has just announced that it has completely removed the ability to use fiat currency and instead is now using its own native cryptocurrency as a medium of exchange. Before I read a little bit of this to you, I want to explain to you, this is what we were talking about last week. When JP Morgan coin comes out, all they've done is they've created a bank walled garden. Well, here is a city, so here's another walled garden. XRP and Ripple represent joining all of these walled gardens, the settlement and cross-border, whether it's the border of a city or the border of a bank. These places are all, to be in the new world of digital assets, these places are all going to have to plug into each other. If they want to be able to interact globally, that's just the way it is. So these are all good things. This means that they're plugging into the digital world. Look at this. Private City in Norway, Liberstad, ditches cash for its own cryptocurrency. According to UK publication The Express, the self-proclaimed libertarian city, or Liberstad as it's known officially known, is now utilizing its own proprietary cryptocurrency, which it calls CityCoin. In an interview with a city spokesman, the CityCoin the CityCoin runs on its very own blockchain protocol called CityChain. Its native CityCoin will be the medium of exchange, which will allow its citizens to purchase city services, fund civic projects, and pay worker wages. Inhabitants can pay for anything ranging from haircuts, a dozen local eggs, or an artisan loaf of bread using City, marking a milestone for real-world use of blockchain technology. How awesome is that, folks? That is something else. And I just wanted to show you, this is Liberstad, established June 1st, 2017. And here's their little logo. Really neat stuff happening. If you don't see that as serious adoption, then you need to see again. Now, from C3 Nick, he's our German contact. Reuters, Germany consults industry about blockchain potential. Germany has opened a consultation process on how to tap into the potential of blockchain technology ahead of presenting a strategy by the summer. Now, a lot of you out there know a lot more about the goings on in Europe than I do, but from reading between the lines, from what I can tell, Germany kind of leads the way in Europe as far as finance, and they're one of the leaders in finance in Europe. And so when you see Germany doing this, you better believe a lot of the different countries are going to be doing it too. And I've shown you almost hundreds of examples of different countries that are getting on the ball with all this. Okay, Sergeant Obi-Wan was on the ball this morning. This is our Obi-Wan Kenobi XRP guy. Bitcoin ETF, SEC's Hester Pierce and CFTC's Quintez offer perspective into possible listing approval. Now, I wanted to read you briefly a little bit of this, but before I do that, I want to make the point that I've made over and over. The second that you heard the words Bitcoin ETF, it was going to happen. All of these people have to wave their magic wand and take credit for it and all of that. But the second you heard that term, It was going to happen. And I've said this from day one. The second I heard that term, I knew it was going to happen, because they wouldn't have ever even brought it up if they didn't smell the money. And everybody smells the money. The SEC smells the money. The big banks smell the money. The big financial institutions and investment banks, they smell the money. The ratings agencies smell the money. So they are coming, and there will be Bitcoin ETFs. But all of these people have to get the credit and get the pats on the head like they've accomplished something. That's just the way the world works. So here's the article that he's sending to you. SEC, this was an event called the Year Ahead for Capital Markets. And this is really one of the good guys in the SEC. The commissioner for the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, Hester Pierce. She says, at the SEC, we've been unwilling to sign off on a Bitcoin ETF, an exchange-traded product based on Bitcoin. My concern about our approach in that area is that it looks a little bit like a merit-based approach, judging the underlying Bitcoin markets. In other words, they're placing a judgment on what they think about the Bitcoin markets and how risky it may or may not be, instead of doing their job. And I don't think that's because of her. I think that she's the one that's trying to turn it around. And then it says, talking about the unregulated nature of the crypto sphere, Pierce stated, there are lots of markets that aren't regulated, but we nevertheless build products on top of them. She further asserted that there is a need to rigorously assess susceptibilities and apply reasoning in the sector. This is big, because everything she's saying, you can tell that where this is leaning in the direction of this is going to happen. They're just they want to cover their hind ends. That's what this is really about. They want to make sure they give all the disclaimers so that they can be able to say, oh, we told you so, if it doesn't go the right way. Okay, and this was also from Sergeant Obi-Wan. Now, this is huge, folks. This might be partially responsible for what we've seen over the last few days with a lot of green on the screen. And this is from Indonesia. Bitcoin trading volume surges in Indonesia after country officially recognizes crypto as commodities. If India can do it, then why can't the U.S. get on the ball and get it done? This is a huge sign. Anyway, he says in here, I wanted to read this article for you because, or just not the whole article, just a couple of lines. And the reason is because I want you to think about this for a minute. I just read you something from C3 Nick where Germany is getting their ducks in a row with all of this. And we've talked about literally tens, maybe hundreds of countries around the world over the last few months that are all working on regulations, anywhere from Liechtenstein to Malta to Indonesia to Germany to the U.S. You name it. We've talked about a country you can think of that's working on their regulations. Well, this is one country. We just experienced 2 days. There's over, I believe, $10 billion has been added to crypto in the last couple of days alone. Now, I'm not saying that is directly because of Indonesia, but I'm saying that it could be. So listen to this. Bitcoin trading volume has more than doubled in Indonesia on peer-to-peer crypto trading platform Local Bitcoins from 222 Bitcoin, worth roughly $8.8 million for the week ending February, up from 102 Bitcoin. The record-breaking volume coincides with the country's new legal framework for cryptocurrencies, which legalize cryptocurrency exchanges and classify Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins as commodities. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin can now be legally traded according to local news outlet. Indonesia's commodity futures regulator opened the door to the massive influx of Bitcoin trades by issuing Regulation Number 5 on February 8th, which provides legal certainty and authorizes digital currencies as trading commodities. Folks, that is huge. That is so huge. And that's the article that I was reading from there on the Daily Hodl. This is from Michael, and Michael has been sending me a lot of good stuff lately at VAL5 links. And he sent me two of the best things that you'll hear about today. First, this is institutions are building core crypto positions have seen the drawdown as an attractive entry point, says Grayscale. This is from Grayscale's report recently, and there's just a couple of quotes here that you just need to hear. First, this is a quote from Grayscale. First, The average investor at this stage of the bear market is patient with a multi-year investment horizon, investing for retirement. Second, institutional investors are building core strategic positions in digital assets over time and have largely viewed the 2018 drawdown as an attractive entry point. Here's another quote. Despite a slowdown in investment across products in the fourth quarter, we continue to see evidence that digital assets are here to stay as a new asset class, reads part of the report. And then finally, this is also from Michael. So give him a follow. He gave me two great things today. FairFX granted settlement accounts at Bank of England. FairFX, the e-banking and international payments group, announces that through its subsidiary Spectrum Payment Services, it has been granted settlement accounts with the Bank of England and in turn has become a direct participant of the UK faster payment scheme. Well, you'll never guess who's a partner of FairFX. That would be Ripple. This is from April 26, 2018. Five money transfer operators from across EU and Asia to tap Ripple's XVIA API to open a new corridor for funneling payments across RippleNet. Payments originators, FairFX, RationalFX, exchange for free, and these will use XVIA to try out the potential of the RippleNet network for lowering operational costs. How awesome is that, folks? So, while all the FUD and all the different things, we hear all these different things, good and bad. Last week, JP Morgan coin Bloomberg told us that they were going to obliterate XRP and all this business. Meanwhile, Ripple just keeps ticking along. Chris Larson's over in the Middle East meeting with people and cutting deals and making things happen. And all these people are just talk. XRP, the end of that, whatever. XRP is going to own the world, folks. XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created, and everybody knows it behind the scenes. We've got some exciting times ahead. And finally, let's get to this. I want to show you this as long as we're talking. I believe 2 days ago we were at around 123, 124 billion. We're at 134 billion in just a couple of days. Bitcoin is within $50 of 4,000, and I believe that 4,000 is a psychological level. If that is broken through, I think things will get quite interesting. XRP has just broken 34 cents, folks. I've watched a lot of green days and red days over the last 8 or 9 months, and I can tell you there haven't been many where for 2 days in a row we saw this kind of green. This is a very, very good sign. I'm not telling you that this is the bull market and it's here and all that. I'm just telling you this has not been happening in recent months. This is having this much green 2 days in a row is a really good sign. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that XRP is up almost 9% today. Thank you for listening.